Hey everybody, welcome to the Fire Up with CJ show. Today we're going to be talking about caves of power, ancient energy techniques for healing, rejuvenation, and manifestation. And we have Sergio Magana here leading us through a couple of really cool meditations that we can use for our own healing as well as rejuvenation. So welcome, Sergio.
Welcome, CJ. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And after some technical problems, finally we're here.
We are, including my inability to pronounce your name, and probably apologies in advance because I have no idea how to pronounce half of the words in your book. So if I completely botch them up, please forgive me.
Don't worry about my name. You said it perfectly.
Okay. All right. So tell us, first of all, your story is really fascinating because you started off, you've been doing healing for how long?
Oh, I think professionally, 22 years.
Wow. Okay. And it's something that you learned. You described you had a nanny who functioned as part of your mom, your second mom, and then you had your own mom and you had a Christian upbringing. But it started, your fascination with healing started with your nanny. Is that right?
Yes, because she was. I was raised like you said in a traditional family, Catholic, and of course with science oriented and that. But the difference was that my mother worked and studied, so I had like a second mom that was raising me. That was my nanny that worked for my parents. That she was the daughter of a healer of a community that they are named the Otomian indigenous community that they live very close to Mexico City. So actually she started working in my parents' house before I was born. So all my life I was most of the time with her. Mm-hmm. And she did with me like a kind of, not training, but for example, she practiced what she knew for her family with me. Mm-hmm. So many times when I had an ache or something like that, instead of giving me a pill or nothing, she would just take like tobacco and would be doing like circles against the clock with the tobacco in the area, and then smoke the tobacco, and then when she blew out, disappear the pain, and cleansing with the egg, taking also my aches and nightmares, and with coconuts. She has many different varieties. So I saw it all my life.
Right, so it was kind of a normal thing, right? It just seemed like a normal, like, okay, take the coconut, take the egg out, I had a bad dream. You know, it just seemed like a normal process.
For me, it was like kind of normal. So both medicines, like the traditional one and the indigenous one, became like normal. I knew that one of my mothers, if I had a stomachache, would give me a normal pill, and the other would do something, and that both worked. That was important.
Yeah.
Because actually I think in my brain it created that the traditional medicine wasn't the only possibility. Mm-hmm. So that there were many ways. Of course, when you begin growing up and that, then I got into much more the common life and into the normal things of medicine and that, mm-hmm. But I never forgot that there was other possibility. No?
Mm-hmm. And then you met some other people along your healing path. You met this gentleman, Hugo, and there was another gentleman. Tell us a little bit about how they helped you along your path of becoming a healer.
Yeah. First, from Hugo, I met other lady because, when I was a teenager, I became really rebel. Mm-hmm. So my parents were really worried. And when you are meant, because my mother, one friend recommended her a psychologist. Mm-hmm. So she thought that she was sending me to a normal psychologist for therapy. And of course she was a psychologist, but she was also working with energy. And she had the ability to see the aura and to tell you things, reading your energetic fields, and to heal with pendulums and with that.
Did your mother know at all that you're getting healed
No,
by
yeah,
pendulums
after
and
she
aura?
knew. Yeah, after she knew, but in the beginning, she thought it was like a normal therapy, but it wasn't at all. So actually, in that time, I wanted to be an actor. This lady, Laura Munoz, that is still a very good friend that does her practice in Mexico, she moved like the eyes in a specific way to see the peripheral vision. And then she told me, no, you're not going to be an actor. You're going to be a healer as me, and a very good one. That were her words. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first time that it came to my mind, even the possibility of becoming a healer. And then I began going. She also taught certain workshops about healing, like healing with pendulums and that. So I attended, and I began being like kind of fascinated. And then what happened is that once I arrived very, very late to my house, and my parents were really, really angry, and they told me, go out of the house. So I had to support myself. And I said, oh, my God, what do I do? I don't know anything how to do it. And that's when I began, like, just for life, because I needed to support myself, I started doing healings, combining everything that I learned with the Nanny when I was a boy with what I was learning with Laura. And one of my first clients, unbelievable, she was like the director of a behavioral center in Mexico City. So she was fascinated because I healed one problem with her, with one of her nerves. And then she began sending me clients and clients and clients. And in 1 month or two, I was completely full. For me, I was the first skeptical, like, really? Is this happening? Is this true? And then one of those clients, she was like she was running the host of a radio show in Mexico City, and she invited me for an interview. The people of the radio show liked it, and then offered me a show. And it was like everything happened like in 3 or 4 months.
Oh, my
like
goodness. Wow. I didn't have a sense of the timing when I read your introduction. Wow. That's fast.
No, it was like in 3 or 4 months, and I said, really? Because my life could totally change in 180 degrees. I was doing something else. I was in radio. I was starting giving workshops and that. And then the other main point that changed completely my life again is that radio show. Of course, it was mine, but I was also having guests, and I was interviewing people from Buddhism, from energy work, from Kabbalah. The same radio show was hosting certain workshops. But then when the gentleman that you mentioned, Hugo, that is one of the main keepers of the Mexican tradition, he heard the show, and then he said, he is the one, referring to me, the one that was going to take his message of the tradition to the world. So he went to like 2 of the workshops that we were organizing through the radio show, and then he told me, I didn't come to learn anything. I came to teach you. And like that, so humble. I always get so surprised, and he's still my teacher and a very good friend. I work with him still. But for example, probably CJ, in this world, there is a lot of people that there is a very thin line between what is real and what is not. So when he told me I came to teach you, I said, okay, probably is someone that will tell me I got the message from the heavens, and and so he insisted so much that I told him, I will give you 1 hour. Imagine my arrogance. I still apologize for that publicly and in private. And in that 1 hour, he explained me all the counts of the ancient Mexican calendar, why what's happening, what is happening now, the cycles, and why was important dreaming, and I was so fascinated. And then he began training me once a week. That has been one of the best things that happened to me. And then he also introduced me his very good friend of the tradition, Xolotl, that was my main teacher in Nahualism and in the Mexican tradition. So I had been studying with them like 15 years, and they changed my life. My books are about what they taught me. And actually, Hugo did for me something like many years ago. He told me after the eclipse of July of 2010, the ancient Mexican wisdom is going to be spread in the world, and you will be one of the first. You will start by Italy and then in the UK, and then you will come back again to the New World. And in that time, I said yes. I didn't question it, but I didn't totally believe it. But just before that eclipse, someone invited me to Hawaii to give a talk about healing that was full of Italians, exactly. And they invited me to give a small talk in Milano, from where a lady came and she told me, your book is for yesterday. And I said, which book? And she told me, the one that you are going to write. I said, okay.
It's amazing how many people have told you, like, okay, I'm gonna be your teacher. You're gonna go to Italy. This is your next book. You must have incredible faith to follow.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, and then actually my first book came out in Italy. It was a bestseller there. And then I gave a small talk in London, exactly. Wow. And the director of Hay House UK came the same way to tell me, do you want to do a book with us? And then I did my second book, that is Hay House. Of course, it's American, but with the brand of the UK. And so my life has been, actually, I think that I have been vehicle because I never planned anything.
Wow. Well, so along the way, because first of all, someone said, oh, you're going to become a healer. So what was your reaction to, oh, you're going to become a healer? Did it resonate with you as, of course, that's what I should be? Or was it, what? I'm going to be an actor, not a healer. What happened to you on the inside when you kind of met that?
I really like this world of healing, of energy, of reading the fire, and that it resonated with me. But many years I kind of fight against it because I was kind of thinking, I want to be an actor. I don't know why I'm being a healer. Of course, I wasn't completely like angry or nothing like that because I liked it.
Right.
But many years, I thought that I wasn't in my place. And now, every time that I go to the theater or something like that, and I see the actors and that, I love I still art and that, but I in my inside I say, thanks God that I am doing what I'm doing and not doing to be an actor. Not because it's something wrong, because I feel it was, even though I didn't see it, it was my correct place.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is oftentimes people are saying to me, you should become a healer, and I really resist it. I don't know why, but I don't, and I'm not even sure why. And sometimes it's hard to know whether you're resisting it because you have issues with it, or you're resisting it because it's not really what you're supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was asking, because someone has said to you, you should become a healer. You should go to Italy. You should write this book. So it's interesting what people do to resist. Like, how did you know that it was truly within your higher spirit to do it when people were coming from the outside telling you to do these things?
No, actually, the first one, the one of being a healer, It's like because what I told you, that I didn't have how to support myself, so I started doing completely because I needed.
You the money, yeah.
Yeah. So and thanks God, because then I began getting very good results, and then I began getting convinced. Okay, like I am a good healer, and not from arrogance, because of the results. And people were recommending and recommending and recommending, and I said, I was skeptical. I said, really? Am I doing this?
Right.
This got fixed and that? And then it took me certain years to really get convinced that I am a good healer.
So you'd have to see. So you had a lot of scientific data, like I'm doing stuff, and people are actually getting healed. So it was actually the data or the evidence that you thought, actually, I am a healer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
The evidence. Yeah, I never lost like the floor and thought, oh God, I was chosen by Laura or by
Right.
whoever. No, I just needed, I began doing it. I got confirmations and confirmations and confirmations, and every time major recommendations and that. And then after certain years, I said, okay, I'm a good healer.
Yeah.
And the second one, because he didn't tell me exactly how, okay, he told me you will start by Italy and that, but then that really went like with the flow, so easy, so suddenly I gave a very small talk in Milano, and they told me your book is for yesterday. Actually, the publisher wrote the book with me in 10 days. That never happens sometimes. So then that's when I remember Hugo, and I asked him, why Italy? Why? How did you know it? And he told me, of course, I dreamt it, because he's specialized in dreaming. And he told me, because all the destruction that happened in our culture, we think that came from the Spanish, but really the center was in the Vatican because of Catholicism. So if we're going to share our culture again, it must start in Italy.
Wow,
So
that's
when he told
fascinating.
me that,
That's great, because it's a logical thing, and you're like, okay, makes logical sense to me.
when I heard that, then it took a lot of logic for me.
Yeah.
And then almost immediately to that, they invited me for UNESCO to do a celebration of the solstice of 2012. And it was like the first Nahuatl, that is the ancient language of Toltecs and Aztecs, ceremony in Montserrat, in one of the main churches of Spain. So I said, this is a part of, like, not a conquest, but like coming back, and I am being part of a huge plan. Then is when I stop resisting me. Every time that I see that video, because I am doing a first ceremony in Nahuatl there, with 700 Spanish, calling the directions in the ancient language of Mexico. So I think it's significant. Not about me, like a major plan of sharing. So that's when I found a lot of logic in what Hugo said, and I went with the flow.
That is a fascinating story. I could talk to you for hours about your story. I want people to get a taste of the kind of work that you do. And there's one, Quetzalcoatl, is that right? Tell us a little bit about that meditation. Someone once said that they did a reading on me, or I don't know, this is a massage guy, and he said, when I look into your, I don't know, he sees symbols. And so when he looked into my symbol, he saw Quetzalcoatl. So I have no idea what Quetzalcoatl is or what it does, and you have a meditation. Lo and behold, you have a meditation about it. Tell us a little bit about this meditation, and I'd love to know a little bit about Quetzalcoatl, and I know I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, almost. Quetzalcoatl.
Say it again.
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl. Okay.
Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl was kind of famous in the world from the conquest and that, and everyone says that is the feather serpent. There was a god for the ancient Mexicans, and that's a very tiny part of the truth. Because actually Quetzalcoatl means the rising serpent. So it would be something like an equivalent of Kundalini for the Eastern tradition.
Okay.
So also in Mexico we have energy points. that were called not chakras, of course, but totonalcayos or cuecuellos that are very similar to the Eastern tradition. That, for example, we have one in the coccyx that the name in Nahuatl is Colotl, that means scorpion. That is where your old winds, the things that you are repeating from your ancestors are. The second one that is in the sexual area is called Iwitl. Iwitl means feather, and is where your light or heavy creations are. So that's why it's named feather, because your creations in your life should be so light that the serpent can rise. Then the third one is in the navel, that is called pantli, that means from Nahuatl flag. That is where like Mayans and Aztecs and Toltecs were kind of fascinated by the calendar. So you had like a destiny by calendar. So it is when you can shift the challenges of your own calendar birth to the best possibilities. Then the fourth one in the chest is called Xochitl, that is the flower. That is flowering. For the ancient Mexicans means like to live your life with beauty, to manifest your life with beauty. Then the fifth one is in the throat, and it's called Topili. That means the commanding stick. And then the sixth one, that is where you recover the power. And then the sixth one that is in your forehead is called Chalchihuitl, that is called the jade. That is the precious. Yeah, in that place, that is the place where people were able to get ensoñación, that is dreaming while awake, or these altered states of consciousness. And of course, there is a seventh point that is called Tecpatl in the crown, but for the Quetzalcoatl discipline, it wasn't used because you were supposed to begin rising the serpent from the coccyx to the forehead and exit from the forehead, and then and if you see, it has like a little bit like similarity with the pharaohs, that they always have like a serpent or a snake exiting from the forehead. So in the Quetzalcoatl discipline, you do that, and then you exit from like a serpent from the forehead, and then you had to transform into a bird that is named Quetzal, that is a precious bird, and with that bird fly to the sun. That's why Quetzal is a bird, and then Coatl is the serpent, and it would be like the flying serpent. And then some cultures united the bird with the serpent, and that's why it was called feather serpent. But the original discipline, it was first a serpent that exits from the forehead and then becomes a bird, a green bird, that is the Quetzal, a precious bird that flies to the sun. And the discipline is like to breathe in, then you hold the air, and then you begin moving. You don't have to move the body, you can move it a little bit, but to move like the coccyx to overcome the patterns of your ancestors, then like a serpent going up through your totonalcayos, then in your sexual area you cross so that you light your creations, then from to the navel to overcome the challenges of your birth chart, then to the chest to flower like a human being, then to the throat to recover your power, then to the forehead, to the jade, to reach that precious essence, and then you breathe out while you exit like a serpent. You do it like 13 times, exactly like breathing in and breathe out when you exit like a serpent. And in the 13th one is when you exit like a serpent, that you transform that serpent in this birth and you fly to the sun. That will be like the complete discipline.
Okay, got it. And could you lead us through it over online? Is this something that would work? Yeah. Lead us through this if you
Of
could.
course.
Yeah, good. Okay, cool. All right, and I'll just sit here
Of
and
course.
breathe. I'll be breathing.
Okay. I'll
I'll be
of course
tracking
now
it.
I gave like all the explanation. When I guide, I will just say breathe, keep it, and then coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, and people should be like visualizing how the serpent goes, of course in serpentine, going up, rising until exits from the forehead. And in the 13, I will tell you this, and in this one, transform that serpent into the birth.
Okay,
Okay, let's do it.
And just one of the things that it says in the book is that you want to face the east. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be like the most auspicious position, if you can face east while we are doing this.
Okay.
Okay, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And when you breathe out, take out all the heavy energy. Take other deep breath. When you breathe out, tune with the rhythm of the universe, the measure, the movement. Take other deep breath. And when you breathe out, we will start the sacred discipline of Quetzalcoatl, the rising serpent. So we will start the first cycle. Breathe, keep it, and now begin moving the totonal callos, coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Now breathe. Keep it. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Keep it. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out. This is the last one. When we breathe out, we will exit like a serpent that will be transformed into a bird that will fly to the sun. Breathe. Coccyx, sexual area, navel, chest, throat, forehead. Breathe out and exit. like a serpent from your forehead. Exit, transform that serpent into a green bird, a Quetzal, and begin flying out of your house of where you are. Fly to the sun, the ancient archetype of enlightenment, of your greatest destiny. Fly to the sun, and reach the sun, enter in the sun, and you will receive the solar energy for the shift, for the transition, and for living your greatest destiny. For us, the word Ometeotl means the two energies joined to create, Ometeotl. So keep receiving the energy from the sun, the rising serpent, so that your life flower in the best way. And with that energy, when I count 4, you may come back after this first experience in the Quetzalcoatl knowledge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back.
Beautiful. I have a couple clarifying questions though. When I was breathing up through the coccyx, the genitals, the sexual up, when I was breathing out, was I breathing in and then just holding it through the coccyx, genitals, navel, chest, or was I breathing up each time through each of those spaces?
No. You breathe only once. You hold it, and you breathe out when you reach the forehead.
Okay, got it. So I'm breathing in, and then I'm holding it as I'm moving the energy from below all the way up. So I'm holding my breath as I'm imagining the bird flying from each of the different points all the way to my.
That's the way.
Okay, and then when I'm having it fly when I breathe out, am I breathing out of my forehead, or am I breathing out through my crown?
No. You normally breathe in with the nose.
Yes.
You hold it,
Yes.
and then you breathe out with the mouth. When you reach the forehead, but you don't exit yet. In the 13 is in the one that you're going to exit, like the serpent, that then becomes, while you breathe out with the mouth, and then the energetic serpent is exiting at the same time from the forehead, and when it exits, becomes the Quetzal and flies to the sun.
Okay, so you do that on the 13th. All the ones from 1 to 12, you're just breathing out through the forehead when you're breathing, doing those breaths. Okay, and this is one for the chapter that's called Enlightenment, and at the very end you said, so this actually, it's may my life and precious knowledge bloom inside me. So it's allowing you to reach your destiny and bloom. So this is when you would do this kind of meditation.
Yeah, because for the ancient ones, the sun represented the greatest destiny. So, and actually, if you see, or people want to Google the temple of Quetzalcoatl in Teotihuacan, you see that there is in both parts of the pyramid, you see like serpents coming out from a flower, and 6 serpents. That means the rising of these to these 6 totonalcayos, because the 7th was used for dying for the enlightenment process.
Okay, so there's one of the things that you talk about in your book is that there's a very express reason why you do 13 or 8 or 4, because they actually have there's a numerology or belief system behind each of those. So tell us about the 13. Why do you do this 13 times?
13 is because the rotation of the solar equator happens in 26 Earth days. So every 13 days, the sun is giving us a different phase. That's why Mayans, Toltecs, and Aztecs divided their calendar in groups of 13 days, like weeks. but it's related to the rotation of the solar equator.
Okay, so you do it for 13 times. So each of these has like an express reason. It's not like, why do I have to do this 13 times? Why can't I do it 10? There's actually a
No, no,
reason.
no. No, no, no. Everything in the tradition 4 or 7 times or something has actually the word Toltec comes from a Nahuatl word that is named Toli. That means the measure. So the ones that knew the measure of the cosmos. So every exercise is based in a measure, in a cosmic measure. Not that someone woke up inspired and said, today 10 and tomorrow 12. No.
Okay, so I want to go over another one because it's and I've seen a lot of meditations in my time, but I haven't seen one on rejuvenation. And you have one called the Cosmic Cross counterclockwise. Is that Cosmic Cross counterclockwise? And I was wondering, and there's miraculous things at the very the way that the book is structured is that you talk a little bit about the concept of the cosmic cross, and then you have these testimonials at the end about what people are able to achieve after doing these meditations for 52 days. And they're astounding. Like people's hair color changing. And,
actually.
and we don't have a video, but as I read in your book, you're in your 60s. Is that right? How old are you?
Me? No, no, no. I am in my 40s.
Okay, because I was going to say you look like you're 20. So so whatever.
No, yeah, I look 20 years younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am almost 44, something
44.
Like that.
Okay, got it. So tell me about the cosmic cross, and then the idea of rejuvenation is not like you feel a little bit more freshened up. It's literally like turning the clock back, from what I can tell from reading your chapter and what I'm hearing about the testimonials. But talk about, if you could, tell us about the rejuvenation practices, and if you could walk us through the cosmic cross.
Yes. Actually, like I put in the, and like I told you before, my groups in Mexico became really huge because I had a radio show in which people were giving their testimonials of the techniques and that. So people called and said, okay, I colored the gray hair, or I regenerated one organ or one area. And that, so that's why it became like really huge. So I began looking about rejuvenation techniques because there are all these legends that I believe about the Easter gurus that they live for forever and that, and also from Mexican Nahuales and that they could reverse time. But I hadn't done it. Of course, I heard the theory that if you did the cosmic cross, what is the cosmic cross? Against to the left, it would be you would get rejuvenation effects, but I hadn't seen it. When I began practicing it with my students, then we saw it. The cosmic cross, so it's a concept in which the two creative energies, that is the masculine and the feminine, that we call it Mr. 2 and Mrs. 2, they become two lines of energy that are joined by four forces that are, in the mythology, they are the four children. That we call them Tezcatlipoca, so that becomes a square, and like these four forces are always moving, so it becomes like a cross, like a fan that is moving always the four axes, so it becomes like a fan. So this,
like an oscillating fan, that's like an upright oscillating fan. So it's imagine a fan with four, yeah, like a cross, and then it's spinning around, or like a pinwheel. It's like a pinwheel, sort of.
Or like a windmill. That is always moving, but with four. And that. So it was said that all these Tezcatlipoca, or the children of the two main forces, always represented one one moment of the time. So, for example, one would represent the sun rising, the other the midday, the other the sunset, the other the midnight. So that could be one. Or they could represent one the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, the waning moon, or one solstice, one equinox, and that. So they were always tied to time, and their movement is their movement it was like metaphorically for the tradition, the one that was creating our illusion of time. Actually, this cosmic cross is the same one that in many cultures happens. Is the swastika for Hinduism. It was also in the Celtic cross and that, and it happened for the Mexicans. So like our planet is spinning to our orbit to the right around the sun, and the Earth is spinning to the left in her axis for rotation. So if you begin spinning with the cosmic cross or spinning to the left, then you're going against time. At least you should do it at 18 minutes. Of course, it's not just a matter of spinning. It's a matter of going, for example, it's quite complex because, not complex in a difficult way, but it's just understanding, because we're used to count, for example, in sun rising, midday, sunset, and midnight, like that. So when you are spinning, you are going in the other way, like midnight, sunset.
Oh, wow. Right. You're going the opposite of the norm of what you would in chronological
with
time.
all the counts.
Yeah.
With all the counts. And, for example, you're going Sunday, Saturday, Friday, all the counts that we have done, all the agreements that we have done about time.
Right.
You go, while you are spinning, you are thinking about them in reverse.
Wow.
So it's a huge exercise of the mind, because you are spinning to your left.
Right.
Spinning, really, and then you are counting everything, like night, sunset, midday, sun rising, previous night, sunset, midday, like that. And then, of course, not in everyone, but it has created amazing things that people think are impossible, like coloring the hair or regenerating certain areas or like that. There are many testimonials. In Mexico, I have hundreds of those, but the publishing house asked me to have testimonials of that weren't Mexicans, and there are Canadians, there are Americans, there are Italians that are doing it, of my students of the world.
Wow. Okay, so for folks who are not familiar, first of all, this is all detailed in the book, but it helps even hearing you say it out loud. So you're standing with your you have two different meditations. One where your hand is like a flower reaching up, like and then there's one in which you're just spinning around and you're chanting these things like night, sunset, midday, dawn, previous night, sunset, midday, dawn, 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012. So you're going backwards, and you're literally physically spinning as you are thinking these things. And you're saying, yeah. So you're spinning around. So as I understand it, you sit down and you visualize the cosmic cross, which is this pin, like a windmill type of thing, and then what you do is you moving clockwise. So do you have a clock spinning you that's moving clockwise? Then you concentrate.
No, it would be to your left, so it could be against the clock.
Okay, all right, got it. So then so tell us, can you lead us through this? Because I can't even explain this very well. Could you just lead us through the very beginning parts? Because I know we don't have 18 minutes, but can you lead us through the beginning parts so we have a sense of how this would be?
Yeah, because there are like you said, two ways. One that is called the flower, that is like standing up, like with your arms up, like creating like a metaphor of the flower, and begin literally spinning with your body to your left for 18 minutes. That's one version. in which you are also, you can be doing the measures against the time, and you are healing your ancestors, your destructive patterns, and that is one way of rejuvenation. The other one is sitting, and you visualize like this windmill with the four pails, or with the four sticks, and that they are joined in your heart. So you will focus in the one that is going up, and then you will see how that one goes to your left, and when it hits the earth, because it must hit the earth from the sky, boom, you command rejuvenation. Then it goes up again, and then it goes down, rejuvenation, and then up, and then back, rejuvenation, and then after you begin making it spin quicker and quicker and quicker, and then is when you begin like midnight, sunset, midday, previous night, and like that, and you begin going all through the different measures of time during 18 minutes.
Right, and so you're actually, or do you usually say these things out loud, or are you just saying them quietly?
No, you can be thinking them.
Okay, got it, and you're just imagining, but the idea is like you're literally reversing everything, the night, sunset, midday, dawn, 2016 or 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, December, November, October, September, August. You're just reversing. Full moon, crescent moon, new moon, waning moon, full moon, crescent moon, new moon, waning moon, winter solstice, autumn equinox, summer solstice, spring equinox. Now youth, childhood, womb. Now youth, childhood, womb. So you're just reversing this and doing it for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you
amazingly effective.
And you say you want to do it for 52 days. Why 52 days?
52 because it's 13 four times, and because actually it has to be with the measures of Orion and the Pleiades. That actually almost no one knows, but our calendar is based in Orion and the Pleiades, because if you have a point of observation from the Earth and you see Orion and the Pleiades in a certain date of the year. So when Orion reaches the same position the next year, the Pleiades will be retarded, will be delayed 7 days, and the next one 7 days. And it would be like that until the year 26, and then they will begin winning again the days that they lost, and they will be in the same position after 52 years. Of the beginning, that actually is measured because it's a perfect alignment of Orion. And that's why our calendar is split in 52 weeks of 7 days. The cycle of Orion and the Pleiades.
Now, you in the book, you talk about someone who's done this for like has done this for a really long time, like every day for over a year or something, or like her whole life. I can't remember. And I think you called her Stefina. What happened with her what did she report? She said she hasn't stopped doing the exercise.
Because it's not eternal. Of course, for example, some of the testimonials of the book, they told me, but as soon as I stopped, I began aging again. I said, it's normal, because then time goes. So I suggest the people to see the results and that it really works to start by 52 days. But for example, the lady of the testimonial that is Canadian in the book, she regenerated completely her knees because they were destroyed. Actually, when the doctors saw her studios again, she said, "These are not your knees." But then when she stopped after 1 year, in some months the knees began again hurting a little bit, and she said, "Uh-oh," and she started again, and now she's perfect. Wow. But there is other Italian that actually she's plastic surgery, and that she has been doing it for 2 years, and she's 50-something and looks really like 35. And actually all their colleagues tell her, "You did plastic surgery." I said, "You have been seeing me here." And actually she told me that her colleagues wanted to have a workshop with me because they saw them.
And then they're like, "I have to spin for 18 minutes? What?" But it's
Yeah.
just once a day, 18 minutes. Just think about all the time that you go to, do all this other stuff for your body. 18 minutes is not so bad. It's probably a good workout if you're spinning around for 18 minutes.
No, we lost more in Facebook.
Exactly. It's great. All right. This has been fascinating. I just find all of this just, first of all, I love how all of this stuff, it's not random. It's completely mapped to the cosmos, which I think is I love that. I love that it's mapped to the cosmos and it's so intentional and it's so thoughtful. Um, this body of work that you're teaching now. If people want to actually come to one of your workshops, how tell us how we find out about your workshops. And I know that you have a website, so it's okay. It's your name, SergioMagana.com. So is that where all your workshops are?
Yeah.
And what happens in a
And this week
workshop?
I will be in New York.
Ah, I know. So you're in New York right now. For what? What are the dates you're in New York?
Yeah, because this weekend I will be teaching in the New York Open Center.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Okay, and then are you coming to the West Coast ever, or is it, how often do you come to the U.S.?
Yeah. In March. I come because I live now in London,
Okay.
but I come to the U.S. like 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. All right, cool. So if you actually want to go, we can go to your website, I assume, and find out all about your classes. And what happens in your classes?
Because there are many different. For example, the one of rejuvenation, we do all the techniques together. Like
Okay.
so the people do it with me and perfectly know how to do it, how to repeat it, and then they can do their 52. I do many things about dreaming. I do some of healing. For example, I teach people how to do astral surgeries or things like that. Of the things that you read in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I have other, like it's obsidian mirror, that it was an ancient Mexican technique to heal your unconscious that, for example, I taught in Boston this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many, many different.
Okay, so there are different workshops depending on the techniques, but then you could see them live and be in your presence to make sure that you're kind of performing them the right way. Or do you have any videos or DVDs that folks could look at to see if they can't make it to your workshops?
I have some interviews in my YouTube channel, Sergio Magana.
Okay.
Sergio Magana.
Okay.
And there are some techniques there. And yeah, I'm planning with my publishing house, Hay House, to do certain of the exercises in a video or something like that.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful for folks. I highly recommend getting this book. It's called Caves of Power, Ancient Energy Techniques for Healing, Rejuvenation, and Manifestation. It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.